Here's what we're going to do. We have a segment to get to, and that is David Griscom. Look at him. Hey, David, do you want to start doing economic update segments at the live show?
I could do that.
I've been amazed that you haven't asked, actually, to be honest with you. Well, he said, oh, I could do that. I can pretend that I...
Don't you think it would start things off really hot if we did a financial news?
Just read the ticker for 30 minutes.
Yeah. Matt, do you ever want to bring back the Regulate segment? Or do you want to find a new segment for yourself?
I thought about doing a segment called Steven Crowder Can't Dunk. Maybe we'll test that out in the post game.
Maybe something weed related.
No, not this time.
Okay, all right. Steven Crowder can't. I'm just thinking maybe you might want to broaden the parameters of it. You don't want to actually talk about Steve Crowder every single week.
No, I think I do.
Okay. All right, to each their own. David Griscom, Richard Wolff isn't here, so you're free to go.
Hell yeah.
Did you watch his review of your work that we posted on YouTube?
Of course, I was there. It was good.
But how was it in the reenact? How was it like watching it on screen where he sort of methodically dissected you?
I was prepared for it. And as I always say, bring it again, Wolfman.
I was about to say...
We're going to go for a round 3 on
I was about to say you took it like a man, but not very mature. All right, David, go ahead. What's up?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about some of this really great news that happened over the last week. The Stop and Shop strikes, successful now, we can say, Stop and Shop strikes across the Northeast. And these are really significant. I mean, we're talking about one of the largest private sector strikes that we've seen in years. Around 31,000 workers went on strike, 240 stores. And Stop and Shop, especially in that area, very much runs the grocery game. As we've seen more and more, these kind of crucial services to the community are being controlled more and more by smaller groups. And, Stop and Shop is controlled by a Dutch company, Ahold Delhaize, which last year made $2 billion in profits. So this year they came forward with a new plan that basically very sneakily cut benefits for workers. They made it seem like people were getting a raise, but in fact, because of the major changes to their health plan and because of changes to the way that people are getting paid. So currently people get paid extra for working on holidays and on Sundays. And especially those Sunday hours are very important for a lot of workers who, if you're a working class person, you budget your time and you know what shifts that you need to get to make your end goal at the end of the month. Anyways, they were going to cut those. And I mean, we're talking about pretty significant changes to people's health plan. One worker who was interviewed on Jacobin magazine, they saw their monthly payment to their health plan was going to go up from $20 a month to $100 a month. Their premium, which was $700 a year for them and their partner, was going to be going up to $1,500 a year. And some people saw even higher increases. So this is a very significant move. And again, this is something we should really talk about a lot more. This is where we see that corporations are able to control people's lives in an outsized way by controlling their access to healthcare, because that's a significant right and an important thing that people need to be able to access, and to have it be so arbitrarily controlled by others is wrong. So anyways, 31,000 workers went on strike, and the community came out in full support for these people. People were showing up with food for them. And this is a really important thing. The strike fund, which basically allows people to continue getting access to money during the strike, got over 1,000 donations just from the community itself. So that's huge. And they were able to win their demands and to maintain the rights and the privileges that they fought for years. It's an absolutely significant thing. It's very exciting to see. And we see, again, when you strike, you win. Now, I wanted to juxtapose this, though, to something that just happened yesterday. The Department of Labor released an opinion letter, which is one of the stronger rulings that it can give out, that allowed an undisclosed company, usually they're undisclosed when they have when they make these rules, that the company has people who basically are using an app platform who clean people's homes. So we don't know what company it is, but we could imagine it's something like a Handy. And let's not forget that Handy, we've talked about before, has been lobbying the equivalent of the Department of Labor on the state level for the past year and a half. Anyway, the Department of Labor said that they can now treat these people, these gig workers, as contract employees, which mean independent contractors, which means that they don't have to pay in Social Security, that they don't have to pay attention to the minimum wage laws, that basically all the workers' protections that we fought so hard over, since the beginning of this country, they just start to disappear. And you see how there's always this dance of deregulation that's going on, especially when you're able to come up with new and creative ways to categorize workers. Now, I'm bringing this up in the context of the Stop and Shop movement because Stop and Shop owners said that it's really difficult for them to compete in a market where other grocery stores are not unionized. And we see this kind of competition between unionized and ununionized labor. And what's happening more and more as one, union density has dropped, and two, corporations are coming up with clever ways to avoid having to give their workers protections and also to atomize them so that people aren't going to the same workplace. They don't know each other. They don't have that same kind of solidarity. They can now pay people less, and there's less likely possibilities of people going on strike. So what we're seeing now, just like Stop and Shop though, the concentration of labor in this country is becoming tighter and tighter. We have a few companies, Amazon, Walmart, Stop and Shop, that control important aspects to our daily life. The workers who maintain those systems are so crucial to capitalism. So being creative, or even just bold, like they were in the Stop and Shop case, has such a massive effect because people have to get their groceries, they have to eat, they have to have access to food. People need access to all the other things and all these other services that are provided by these major corporations. So being creative in the ways that we're able to hit these sort of nodal points of the system actually has a lot of opportunity. So when we're seeing more and more of these new categorizations in the labor market, we should be thinking to ourselves also about the opportunity that we have with more and more monopoly power to really hit these centers as hard as we can.
That was why Marx was interested in labor in a lot. I mean, that was the prime area where there was a counter force of actual power.
Absolutely.
In the sense that you could literally disrupt capitalism through withdrawing your labor. That's an enormously powerful move. I'll just say I took a car back from the airport. Like a proper car. Like the dude just asked me if I wanted to take a black car, and he was a nice guy, so I was like, sure, whatever. And listening to this man talk about what Uber has done to his livelihood is one of the most disgusting things I've ever heard in my life. I mean, down to the point of a 3-hour trip that he got paid, I think $75 or $100 for, if I remember correctly.
God.
And that's on his car, paying his toll, it's obscene. And with all of these things, the price is inevitably going to come back at you. When all of these other places are totally wiped out and there's no competition and government is owned by whatever the special interest is, you don't think that you're going to see that in your prices, even if you're making short-term tactical decisions?
Yeah, I mean, especially in the case of Uber and Lyft, when they're pretty much, they're funding every ride so that they can crowd out everybody, and they're breaking the law.
They're breaking the law all the time
to beat out all their competition.
Definitely.
And that's, what they try to do on the national level too, with categorizing workers as, gig workers or whatever, instead of what they actually are, which is employees of a major corporation.
You've just watched a Michael Brooks show video, and you can watch all of our full main live shows every Tuesday night at around 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and subscribe to get all of the clips you want. We're covering the globe. We're focusing on international relations, the intellectual dark web. We're having fun. We're doing deep dives with a lot of amazing guests. Of course, become a patron for the whole thing at patreon.com/TMBS, or subscribe to this YouTube channel and help us keep growing and get that content out there. Subscribe below.